Hey, how's it going? And today I'm excited to be bringing this tutorial to you on Quick Start Gaea and LightWave, using them together. And I was inspired to do this video by watching this one that Scott Bragg did, Gaea to LightWave. And during this video he talked about making more videos, and I was hoping he would. Please consider subscribing to his channel to hopefully inspire him to keep going, because I found this tutorial really good. The only thing is it's about an hour long, so this is just a quick version of kind of some of the stuff he shows you here, just to get you started real quick. Right here I've got Gaea, the latest version. This is the indie version, and I believe it's $99, and I think I got it, I want to say I got it on a Black Friday thing, and it was $79, but I think it's worth $99 for sure. There's a lot to the program. When you open it up, it comes with this default setup already. So basically you've got these primitives, and I can just click and left drag and cancel all this out. If you hit Alt and left click, you can orientate yourself in the viewfinder and see all over the place, and scroll wheel zooms you in. Just to recreate this, you'd come over here to these primitives just like in LightWave, and you just drag the primitive on here, and this is kind of a node based operation. So it brings in this mountain primitive, and then if you come down here to, let's see, what is it? You've got all these different categories of things. What you end up doing is modifying them. So here is the erosion. So we'll just drag this on, and when you drag and click this into the input here and just click input, it will erode the mountain. So this is the mountain, and this is with the erosion effect added. So that's the mountain uneroded, and this is the mountain with erosion. And of course erosion looks better than uneroded one, I guess. So we just kind of get out. And this looks pretty cool as it is. So what I learned from watching that video was basically there's three things we're going to do. We're going to get a mesher that's going to provide the mesh for this landscape. Then we're going to get a color map, and we're going to get a bump map. And just those three things. I tried creating a floor plane mesh and just bringing in the textures, and I couldn't get anything that even looked close to this. So taking the mesh as an object out of Gaea is the way to go. And so one of them is a data node, excuse me. So we're going to drag details, and this will be our bump map. You get this message, which is really helpful, and it's telling you got to right click and pin this as an underlay for this to hook in. So we'll hook that one in. There's details, input. There's an output one here down on the bottom. Oh, here's a color one. So that's our sat map. So you just click and drag that on. Oops, click and drag that on. And then we hook erosion into it, input. And then we're going to have our output. From the output group is our mesher, and we're going to click and drag that on here like that. And we just click and drag that into the mesher. This is going to be an object. This is going to be sRGB, and this will be linear when we go into LightWave. So that's basically details is your bump, this is your object, and that's your color map. And it's as simple as that. So if you click on each one, you get a choice over here of these different colors and things, and you can do rocky, or I would just pick something basic to start with, like that. Something simple. There's all kinds of categories of these sat maps that you can apply to your model to make it look kind of interesting. The mesher, the only settings we're going to do, we're going to export it as an object. We'll leave everything else as a default. So that's pretty straightforward. And then the last thing is the details, and you don't see anything, but if you click over here, you can bring out those details, and this will serve as our bump map. Oh, one other thing on the mesher here, there is one setting normalized. Yeah, so under here, under scale, we are going to change that to 1 unit equals 1 meter. And that's it. That's all there is to it. So we click over here on the build tab, and the mesher is already good to go. And we'll just leave all this on the default. And then on the sat map, you're going to right click and go mark for export. It pops up over here, and you can just export it as a TIFF. And on details, you right click and mark for export, and it pops up over here. Should it pops up here? Right, see, there it goes. And those are all that we need to bring this into LightWave and have it looking actually pretty good. And there's a ton more that you can do with this. I mean, there's so many possibilities. you know, it could take hours and hours and hours to go over all of it. But and then you just go start build, and it's going to want a file for it. So I'm just going to folder for it. So I'll just call it build 4 and go save. And then it just starts rendering out. Now there's another program called World Creator, and I was looking at that. Since I have Gaea right now, I buy these programs sometimes and then I don't get a chance to play around with them. So I made some time to start experimenting with Gaea just to see how far I could go and how well it worked with LightWave. And there were some things I didn't realize. I didn't realize that these actually come with a UV map already inside of them and things like that. And you'll see that once we dive into LightWave. So while that's rendering out, you'll see here's our folders that come out, our files that come out. I'm going to go ahead and jump into, let's go ahead and jump into LightWave Modeler. Something's, I must have another version of this open. I have another version of 2020 running, so it didn't want to let me. So I have noticed with 2020, I don't know if anyone else has noticed it, it seems like it's a little more sluggish sometimes over previous versions. I don't know. So now here we are, we're in Modeler, and then we're just going to go ahead and load in that object. So I'm just going to come over here to where it's stored under builds, build 4, and there it is, the mesher object, and we'll bring it in. And like I said, I had tried to make a ground plane with a million subdivisions in it, and it just didn't look right. No matter what I did, there you could still see polygons in it. If I hit A, you can see. Now, kind of cool about Modeler is you can start setting things up already in here. So if I come in here to the surface editor, if I go into edit nodes, let me come here. I can go ahead and click on search for image, go image. Let me double click image here. And I can go ahead and load in, go back to where I was here, and I can load in that image. And this is going to be the bump map, so I'm just going to come into edit image, and I'm going to change the color space to linear, and we'll leave that like that, turn that off. And then under mapping, the mapping is going to be a UV map, and we click there, and that takes care of that. And then the bump, of course, will go into the bump. Now I can go ahead and copy this, paste, and then come back in and load that other image, the sat map here, the color. And there's a lot of things you can do in Gaea to make this even much more sophisticated. But like I said, this is just a quick and dirty intro. We're going to put this at sRGB, and then the map is already set. So then this is just going to go into color. And then once that's done, we can close this. And you're not going to see much in here, so we're just going to go ahead and save the object as. And I'll just call this mesher 2, save. We'll save everything. And there's a lot of data in here, so it's taking a little while. And hopefully I can send it over to layout. No problem. Sometimes it comes in, sometimes it doesn't. And there it is, okay? So now I'm just gonna go ahead, position myself like I would imagine myself to be here. And then, you can add so many things to the scene to really bring it all together. Like you could put a sun in the sky and all different kinds of things, to make it just look. So if we come into the surface editor here, probably don't want the specular at 100%. I don't know if turning smoothing on makes a difference. And so I'm going to match my perspective, select camera. I'm going to go to camera view. I wonder what is that? What is my camera view here? Is that high def? No, it's a little, let me make it high HD TV. Okay. And then I'll just go ahead and put this on VPR and we'll see what it looks like. Of course, it's going to take a minute to load in. And a lot may have to do with the color on here. We may not like the color. That could be changed. So like if you go into your backdrop, you can change this to a darker blue. And that's going to have an impact, of course, on your scene lighting. and stuff like that. And then I can, if I go to the object, of course, I can play around with repositioning this. So let's see. I don't like that edge, so I'm going to punch in a little bit more on this. So once you're at this level, you can just play around with, whatever you want to do. Bring in clouds and play around with the surfacing to see what you could do. Like one thing you might do is just come in here to editing and bump up the contrast. That's going to make a big difference. And all this stuff is actually, so it's just up to you, what you want to do to make this look more realistic, like an alien kind of landscape or whatever it is that you're looking to do. But certainly the backdrop will affect the way things look. I'm just wondering why I always get a little frustrated with this backdrop thing, because I see it up here. So let me go back to, is that the sky squeeze that'll get rid of that? Or is that the sky squeeze makes it more, or if you wanted, you could just make it black. So this is the one that's bothering me here. So let me make that black and see what that does. So it's actually, I've got the ground color that's, the ground color is what's, not right. Okay, so this I could just make the same color. Yeah, there we go. Okay, and then if you wanted, I always recommend coming in and going through properties and putting in some volumetrics in there. And of course that color can be switched out too. And you can add in objects and, like I said, clouds, and you can play around with the whole thing and really get it looking interesting just by adding some changes in the lighting that are going to affect everything as well. To me, it's just kind of a quick and easy way to get a terrain into LightWave, and I think it has a lot of potential, and I hope that Scott does keep making some more videos about it because he has an in-depth knowledge of the program. So anyway, I hope you found this helpful. Take care, have a great day, and I will talk to you later.